Hey, Moto America fans, this is Jake Gagne. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Moto America YouTube channel for more coverage, and like, comment. Let's go.
Continuing our 21 in 21 series here with Moto America. Since the inception of the Superbike class all the way back in 1976 to now, we've had 21 different Superbike champions fill all those years. And right now we're lucky enough to have number 5 with us, Flying Freddie Merkel. Hi, Freddie. How are you?
G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm all right. Good day, mate. Aren't you a blonde hair, blue-eyed California boy?
I'm from California, yeah.
You spent your time all over the world, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to ride bikes, do all types of motorcycling, and take our craft worldwide. So, yeah, I've been very fortunate, very, very lucky.
Now, for you, Freddie, you're the 5th champion. You won 3 Superbike champions in a row, 1984, 85, 86. You also have the distinction of being the first Superbike champion to win double-digit races in one season, 10 wins in 1984. Let's go back in time, man. Take me back to what Superbike racing was like in 1984, 85, and even really in 1986 when I believe things changed. The look of the Superbike class maybe changed with the bikes. So tell us about all your success with American Honda during that time and what it was like.
Yeah, it was a blast, like Superbikes, the conception of that was in the 70s, the likes of Steve McLaughlin and stuff like that. And of course, as you know, back then they were the animal bikes. They were the 1,025cc, big bad mamma jammas that were made a lot of noise and went really, really fast. And, they were pretty heavy back then, but they were definitely state of the art for its time and era. And I was fortunate enough to actually kind of cut my teeth before the Honda days with Yoshimura on the 1025, the Katana, that West Cooley Road, and got to experience that, those big animals and how Freddie and Eddie and all those, and Wayne and all those guys rode those things. And then got to go to the Honda tryout in Laguna Seca and ride actually Freddie's 1025, and get to compare the Katana to that. And I was 17, I think, and I was scared to death. It was like, I'm never going to be able to ride these things. But yeah, it was good to be able to get in, towards the latter part of the 1025, which it was. And as you know, in 83 was the first year of the 750 Interceptor. So things changed a lot. The weight rule dropped a bit, I think. And of course, the horsepower came down a bit, but the bikes were far more, I wouldn't say superior, but maybe user-friendly on the racetrack. As things go on, technology gets better and stuff like that. And yeah, it was really good. And to get on the ground running with Honda in 83 as first their support rider, and then a factory guy on a factory bike a few months later because Steve Wise got hurt, and I was lucky enough to fill that position. But yeah, the bikes just progressed and progressed, but it was really cool to actually be able to be the latter end of the 1025 and get on the 750. And, the rest is basically history.
Well, there's a lot of history really in there because you win 3, Superbike titles, and in that you win 18 races during the run that you had, plus more races, obviously. But tell us about your career after AMA Superbike, because you went on to do, well, really just make history that continues on to this day.
Yeah. The cool thing, the lucky thing for me, and probably for Kevin Schwantz as well, is that getting into the AMA stuff when it got to the 750s, and then was lucky enough in 86 to go to the match races in England. And I was the team captain for the Americans and the American rider side. And we got to experience racing in Europe basically for the first time. I'd raced in Japan before, of course, with Suzuka and stuff like that. But to experience it over there, and that just gave us so much exposure. So that was a foothold for myself, and and basically for Kevin. It definitely made his career go leaps and bounds. But that was kind of the first taste of, what was to come. And, but we still, had a long way to go for that season 86, but, 83, 4, 5, and 6 were, magical years, with Team Honda, with Merlin Plumley, Mike Velasco, Udo Giel, Todd Schuster. I mean, all of the people that and be able to have a chance to be a part of their effort, their team, and the series. Even the days back when I got my tryout, basically I rode my first race with Yo Shimura in 82, 83, with Don Sakakura and Mr. Ito, just fabulous people, just lucky to be a part of that era. I'm grateful.
Yeah. But then you go off to a brand new series, don't you? You go off to conquer the world. Tell us about that.
Well, that was just, again, right place, right time. Things are really starting to take off as far as Superbike goes globally, because every country had their Superbike series, and then with Steve McLaughlin kicking off the inaugural World Superbike Series in 1988, we knew everybody that was involved in Superbikes globally in their country knew that series was going to take off. So, everybody kind of spent the 87 season, like myself, doing as many races as possible, getting geared up for that. So after my years with Honda, I was lucky enough to get a chance with Honda Italy and HRC Japan, because I had a very good rapport with HRC Japan, Mr. Aika. And he had the faith in me to, take the RC30 the first year of that weapon and take it to Europe and, do the business. So very fortunate. But yeah, like you say, the timing couldn't have been, more impeccable. Getting geared up in 87 to go to Europe the following year, and just riding as many races as I could in England and Italy. And I did Assen, I think. Yeah, I did Assen, and then a few more. But it was a good taste. Of course, the World Series, then we covered, we did the full World Series. Lots of countries, lots of racetracks like the Hungaries, the Czechoslovakias, the Portugals. That was an experience. Of course, all the races in Spain, and basically every racetrack in Italy. So, it was like that was huge. That was a massive undertaking just to go, okay, well, we're the first cats to do this, and take it, do the whole global thing. So, and especially with Superbike in the first year of the RC30. So it was an experience. It was a dream come true.
I mean, but there's no question that machinery wise, you were in a window to see such transformation of that machinery from when you first started to even getting to the RC30. What was it like living through that? I mean, I can imagine when you first showed up and saw an RC30, what were you thinking about that piece of machinery that is now so iconic?
It was amazing, because it was an absolute amazing motorcycle. It was nimble. It was a bullet. It's funny that if I look at a 1988 RC30 now, a street bike, you go, man, that's old.
Yeah.
Man. And I remember the first time I got on it, that was in Brands Hatch. That was a couple days, the weekend before the very first World Superbike race in Donington in 1988. I think it was the weekend before the bike showed up when we went to Brands Hatch. And I think there was a national round there, a British Superbike race there. And I remember the first time I got on it, just leaving the pits, the paddock, going on the racetrack, I almost flipped it in the pits in first gear. I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
And just wasn't ready for it, And of course, Brands Hatch is just a real low geared racetrack. It's just first gear, you got a sprocket on the back that big. And I remember grabbing a handful of this thing, just not ready, with one hand on the handlebar, and it came straight in the air. And I'm thinking, this is a good look, with every HRC member from Japan standing on the wall here watching this idiot going to flip their brand new motorcycle before he even gets on the racetrack. It's like, yeah, here's our future world champion. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, just an absolute weapon. Instantly, it only took 10 minutes for me to come to grips with it. It was so easy to ride, so user friendly. The power delivery was, so smooth, but it had a big punch. It didn't have a heap of top end, but it got you there quick. It got you there really, really quick. And what was really funny is that coming from AMA stuff, where back days we used to use handlebars,
Yeah.
The real low cut handlebars, and the bike actually came with clip-ons, and it was set up for some little Japanese test pilot, I guess. It had this handlebars as clip-ons, and hell, they were almost at a 45-degree angle.
Sheesh.
And I got on the bike and I looked at my mechanic. Then it was Norris Farrow and Chris Johnson. I went, I can't ride this thing. I can't even hang on to it. So we ended up taking the clip-ons and we turned them upside down. So I rode like that.
Wow. Because that was your only option, right?
Yeah, that was it for the first day. And then somebody from Honda UK goes, "Oh yeah, we got a alloy TIG here set up and stuff." So after the first couple of practice sessions, we went and we cut them. We put them where I want and we welded them back on.
Wow. That's incredible.
Everybody thought I was crazy. The looks that I got in the second practice session coming up with handlebars that were facing upwards. They're like going, what is wrong with this guy?
So you win the first two inaugural seasons of World Superbike. And then what happens to what happens after the 89 season?
Yeah. The 2 great years. Well, they're all great years. Back then, the weight rule was basically the same from the twin cylinder to the 4-cylinder with the Ducati and stuff.
Okay.
The Honda was an absolute bullet. I think once that the series kicked off in such a strong way, the first year in 1988, then all the manufacturers really went, okay, we basically can't just let Honda dominate with this RC30. I think everybody took a keen interest in that series after that because they saw how popular they saw in the future how popular it could be, and that the manufacturers could definitely sell their wares, sell new prototypes, new motorcycles and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is that the Honda was a weapon the first year, and then everybody caught on the second year and really improved from there, especially Ducati when they went from the 888, then the 926 and stuff like that. And of course they had a different weight rule, and that really made things tough for us. So yeah, it was something to experience all that, and everybody just got on the bandwagon and just went from there. So it went from strength to strength, basically.
So obviously the beginning part of your young adult life, up until, your 20s and I would imagine early 30s is motorcycle racing. So where were you and when did you retire from professional motorcycle racing?
Well, we left Europe in, it was 92, 93, 94 was my first year back with Rob Muzzy Kawasaki. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was it. We had a fun year with the Kawasaki, had kind of hit and miss, went on to Suzuki, and we had great times with Don Sakakura, Mr. Ito, won a whole bunch of super sport races and did fairly decent. Well, not really, but did okay on the Superbike. We always knew that bike was pretty old by then.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got hurt in 95, and that was it. So I got hurt so bad that I wasn't able to train and really catch my training window and fulfill my contract, plus the paralysis that I had pretty much in my left arm then and shoulder. It took me a few years to actually get back. So it was done. The days were numbered. We had achieved a lot, with a lot of teams and a lot of wonderful people that helped along the way. They're just too numerous to name. So yeah, real lucky, very fortunate. I'm a real lucky guy.
Has motorcycling at all after retirement played a part in your life?
Um, a wee bit with my son Travis racing. Travis turned 30 a couple weeks ago. So I have Jet, my little one, he's 11, and then Travis 30. Travis started racing more than a decade ago, I guess, and raced for basically 5 years. So that kind of rekindled me back into the motorcycling circle again. Travis won a few championships in New Zealand racing. So, we did real good. And then with the help of Phil and Cheryl London in New Zealand, Travis got to go and experience a year of racing in Italy. So we had a great time. He did great. And that's about the only involvement that I did that got me back into, per se, racing, which was a lot of fun. It scared me to death, but he lived through it. And that was about it. So I follow it. I watch it. I watch you cats, and I just enjoy it.
So you, at some point, have lived in different parts of the world. Where do we find you now? Are you still on the gas working? Are you retired? Where are we finding you in life?
I'm a filthy welder. Structural steel, buildings, whatever. Still on the tools, still doing it hard. Body doesn't like it. The body's definitely well beat up. Still doing young man's work. So, that's it. So I'm in the Bay Area. I'm here now with my girlfriend Guinevere, and just doing other things, especially into my archery, as you know. So that's basically given me. It's basically my new archery. It's not new. I did it with my dad in the 80s, but I haven't shot a bow in 30 years up until about 4.5 months ago. But it's I never thought there was going to be anything that would replace personally 2 wheels for me. And the same drive and motivation. As you know, it's a very disciplined sport, and it's very difficult. As you know, once you kind of you can hit the bullseye a few times and then try to hit it every time. As you know, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of discipline, and it's like I said, it's so challenging. It's definitely giving me that high like I got from racing.
Growing up, were you naturally a competitive person? Is it the competition that drove you during your racing years, you think?
Yeah, well, it was my dad, mom and dad, the reason why I achieved what I achieved, but dad was a racer and stuff like that. And things in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, things were getting hot, heavy with the younger kids, the children of the adults in racing. The series, they started a mini bike series in Northern California, and it was across America as well back then. But I'm very competitive, and I guess that's where I got it from, my father, my mother and father. But the racing was just something that I just had to do, and it was just, it was all I ever wanted to do ever since going to San Jose Mile for the first time. I think it was in 1970, and hearing those bikes and everything else, it was like, yeah, this is going to be me. This is what I'm going to do. And as you know, when you get better into something, you just want to do more and more and more. You get better and better and better.
Do you find that the current COO of MotoAmerica, Chuck Axlen, him beating you as a child motivated you to be a fast professional athlete? That is an inquiry that I had to ask being an employee of MotoAmerica. I'm sorry I had to do it.
Yeah. Chucky. That's awesome. Yes.
Oh, he's Chucky, is he? Okay. Yeah, I got you, Chucky.
My mate, Chucky. Yeah. I've known Chuck since I was 6 years old.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. 6, somewhere between 6 and 8. Yeah.
Yep. And amazingly enough, my dad worked for PG&E, and he was a gas welder. And on the weekends, he would moonlight, as you say, and do trailer parks, trailer courts, and do the underground gas and stuff. Well, when he would go and do these on the weekends, he would let me take my Yamaha 60 Mini Enduro with him. So I'd go and help him roll pipe while he welded. And when I did a few hours of that, he let me go off and ride my motorcycle. And one that we were working at was in Manteca. And Lord and behold, this trailer court is next to, guess who? Bud Axlen's workshop, where Skip Axlen and Chuck Axlen lives.
Oh, Uncle Skip.
And I remember looking across the field going, they got a big track over there. And look, there's this little kid. He's riding a bike just like mine. So this went on for the afternoon. And the next day we went back there, and I'm like looking at it. So finally Dad says, all right, let's go over there. So we loaded the bike and went over there. And we met, Lord and behold, Bud Axlen, Skip Axlen, and little Chucky. So I got to go in the weekends that we would go back, Dad would go back there and work. I'd go with him, of course, and I would spend the day hanging out with Chucky, and we would just ride on the tracks there that Bud had built, before Kenny Roberts was there. That's the whole background, or the beginning of Kenny Roberts, and all that stuff is right in that place in Manteca, Bud Axlen's place. And I would ride there as much as possible. So me and Chuck were mates, and hell, we would just ride and ride and ride. We would use every drop of gas on the property. We'd break as many frames as we could break. And then when we do that, we would just stop and walk across the field to the little store and buy powdered donuts.
Is that right? Well, he didn't stop buying powdered donuts, by the way. But yeah, so. But let me shift gears with you and talk about this competition thing, because I want to just circle back to archery, because what I've found is when I stopped racing, when I was a younger person, my competition really was about the other people, like beating the other people. I played stick and ball sports and raced and those types of things. And what I found as I get older with archery is that competition now has turned inward, and it's all about that self-improvement. Do you find something similar with the way you're approaching archery? Big time.
It's parallel with two wheels. Yes, you're always chasing that ultimate lap. As I've said before, I've been asked many times about the distinction between the two wheels and the arrows. Once you've achieved something that's at a high level, you just want more and more. But it is an individual sport, as you know, and when you've done something wrong, when I've taken a corner wrong, or entered it wrong, or I've set the bike up wrong. So many variables come into it, and it's all between your ears. When you knock an arrow and you get it into your rest position here, and just before you let it go, you've already known you're going to make a bad shot, and then it goes, and then you go,
why did I do that?
What happened to that Zen I had like 90 seconds ago where I just shot a bullseye? Like, where did that go?
Yeah.
And it's just a constant thing. And you don't just chuck another arrow in there and let her go, because anybody can shoot bad arrows all day.
Yeah.
And it's just such a disciplined sport, just like with racing. You have to be completely immersed in it. You have to be completely 100% focused in it. I mean, I have a range here just in the backyard, or I'm shooting 20 to 30 yards, and I'm lucky just to have that. And fire arrows as you want. But I get to the point where I go, after working all day, I'll come home and I'll shoot for a half hour, to an hour. Now, I used to shoot stupidly like 200 to 250 arrows, which is just dumb.
It's good. That's good for an old racer's body, isn't it?
Yeah, real good. Especially shooting a 19-year-old bow that I used to shoot. And what I'm saying is, to get into your zen, you got to find that spot and just put everything out. And it was just like suiting up and putting your helmet on. As you know, you have to be in that presence, and nothing can be in the way, between your ears. And when you're doing right, when you're doing wrong. Whether it's twisting the throttle or pulling an arrow back. So it's I'm just very lucky to be able to get into this new sport of mine, archery, and with both feet. I live it and breathe it now. It's just me.
Are we going to get to see you at a MotoAmerica event this year? Maybe Laguna Seca.
Yeah. I'll be there for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll be there. I have my truck. I got my target in the back of the truck as well. I got my bag everything with me. So,
well, listen, I'm riding to the races. I'm riding from the Ridge Motorsports Park down to Laguna. And the plan is I'll have my bow case on the back of my motorcycle. So maybe we can fling some arrows together.
Damn straight, mate. You bet.
That'll be a treat for me, for sure. For definitely sure.
My new Matthews 38 incher.
Oh, you got it. You're all set. You're ready to roll. I like it. All right. It'll be Matthews versus Botek. We'll have to have a nice shoot off there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
well,
great.
Listen, Freddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on 21 and 21. We appreciate it. And thank you for all the great racing and the history that you provided to AMA Superbike racing over the years.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I love this. I love doing this stuff. I love going to the races, and I just hope we get a good crowd this year. And it would be great to see a lot of old faces and new faces. And I just dig it. And I'm looking forward to you maybe giving me some pointers here with these.
Yeah, only archery. I guarantee you that. Well, make sure you bring enough Sharpies, because I have a feeling when people see this video and see you at Laguna, you're going to have to sign a lot of autographs.
I'll be there.